That's one hell of a way to start Chainsaw Man episode 4. So last episode I thought that Power might be dead for good. Turns out that Delano was wrong. That's okay, that happens once in a while. And Power being alive does make sense narratively. Her character arc definitely felt incomplete. Right now the basis of her character is that she dislikes humans and does not trust them in any way, shape, or form. I feel like the direction our character is gonna go in is to eventually learn to accept and trust humanity, or at the very least see it in a more positive light. My main issue lies with the execution of this plot point. I hate fake out deaths, like 99.9% of the time. Even some of my favorite shows like Naruto have absolutely halted momentum because of this. Using a fake out death, especially in the beginning of your story, is essentially telling your audience that they cannot trust the stakes that you are putting forth. So please, I really hope that Chainsaw Man does not make this a repetitive theme. If I see another couple fake out deaths, it's really gonna halt the momentum of the story for me, or at least ruin the stakes by a large margin. Like, the author could have easily told the exact same story with Power and Denji without having to resort to a fake out death of Power. But anyway, I digress. Denji ends up fighting this leech worm devil. This is some nasty work, man. I'm telling you, this is some nasty work. The important piece of information that we kind of get to infer is that these devil fights seem to attract other devils to the area. I wonder if that's going to be a common theme going forward in the story. And maybe it's related to how these devils are created and also how they're related to each other. Just a side note, the one thing I love about the Chainsaw Man world is that unlike other worlds where, they hide the fact that they're fighting devils or curses or stuff like that, this is a world where the entire infrastructure and government is based on fighting these evil beings. And I think that's a very unique approach to a common concept that we've seen in a lot of different stories. So I like the unique twist and angle to the story. But anyway, back to the story. It looks like Denji is very tired and destroyed from losing all that blood, and it looks like he's about to lose the fight when...
Cool.
This was actually a pretty badass moment, I'm not gonna lie. There were two thoughts that ran through my mind instantly after I saw the scene. The first is that fox looked a lot like a nine-tailed fox with a Sharingan or a Rinnegan, right? The second is that Hayakawa seemed to be a little bit too powerful, especially for the scale of the story that we've been introduced to so far. But don't worry. The explanation for this power makes a lot of sense, and honestly, I really liked it in comparison to this just being one of Hayakawa's base powers. So we find out that Hayakawa essentially sacrificed body parts in order to make a contract with a devil. Kill. My apologies for that. But anyway, I feel like this adds a lot of depth, especially to the relationship between devils and human beings. It turns out that humans making contracts with devils is not necessarily uncommon, and they do it all the time in order to hunt other devils. Now, this makes us question events that happened earlier in the story, right? For example, Denji sacrificing his blood for Pochita, and then Pochita kind of returning the favor later on. I would like to think that there was no contract basis to that exchange, and it was just an exchange of wills and friendship. And I think that's the case too, so that's what I'm going to choose to believe for now. And if that is the case, I wonder just how rare an actual genuine relationship between a devil and a human is. Like where they care about each other on a deep level, kind of like Denji and Pochita. Another thing that kind of came across my mind is that Pochita didn't seem that strong initially, but I feel like a chainsaw devil should be a lot scarier and stronger given the fact that I feel like a lot of people would be scared of chainsaws. Maybe I'm wrong, but Delano's not scared, but I'm just saying, Anywho, regarding the relationship between Denji and Pochita, there's a Harry Potter quote that I love. Dumbledore says, "It is our choices, Harry, that show us what we truly are far more than our abilities." What does this say about Pochita and Denji, knowing that they are willing to sacrifice themselves for the other? I feel like we definitely have to get Pochita back at some point in his own form with his own will. Anyway, once Denji and Power are kind of rescued by Hayakawa, they get interviewed to see what exactly happened to Denji in the first place. And Denji lies for Power. And Denji is a nice guy, yeah, for sure, but there's more to it than that. I feel like Denji feels an emotion and a relationship with Power that's not necessarily romance.
早川くんも少し頭が柔らかくなった？デンジ君と一緒に住んでる影響かな？
So I guess our boy Hayakawa is not safe from the claws of Denji's influence either. Hayakawa strikes me as a sort of stoic personality, right? He seems like the type of guy that would lean more towards the side of pessimism than optimism. Now, people who are usually like this, that lean just a little bit towards the pessimistic side, tend to, call themselves realists. But the mix-up happens when the real pessimists also call themselves realists. So you'll never hear a pessimist calling himself a pessimist, right? But anyway, ignore the side tangent. There's clearly something about Denji and his personality and his demeanor that brings out a sort of inspiration or a sort of positive energy from Hayakawa. I'm very curious to see the direction that Hayakawa goes in the future. In terms of depth, he's one of those characters with the most potential. Anyway, Makima orders poor Hayakawa to take all the gang into his house or apartment or whatever he's got going on, right? So poor guy goes from living alone to having to live with Denji in power. Imagine your boss calling you and telling you you have to take in 2 of your coworkers to come live with you. Bruh, I'd be slamming the phone down on Makima so hard, bruh. I just want to say on another side note, or I guess an end note, that I really appreciate the discussions that's been going on in the comment section. The Chainsaw Man audience has been phenomenal with no spoilers in the comments, and we're actually having like productive discussions that's really making me enjoy the show a lot more. I'm telling y'all are some sophisticated bastards. Anyway, whoever stuck to the end of the video, I have some ideas for other anime videos that I kind of wanted to talk about, and I kind of want to get your thoughts about it if you guys have any opinions. I kind of wanted to do a series called How Good Was It Really? About anime that we watched back in the day growing up, you know? Like, for example, we all kind of grew up on Death Note, but how good was Death Note really? There are definitely anime that stand the test of time, but there are others that don't. Some are just a product of their time, and some are just anime that we enjoyed because they just happened to be around at a specific time where specific things were popular, right? And also, nostalgia plays a big factor in a lot of these cases. So, anyway, let me know about some anime that maybe we grew up on, and I can have a dissection of the anime and talk about how exactly it aged. And until next time, keep it classy, folks.